So she's gonna let people into our room. See, it's 4 participants now.
Welcome, everyone. We are super excited that you're joining us this evening. We're going to wait a couple more minutes and then we're going to go ahead and get started. Just to let you all know, we will be going live on Facebook. So if you have any friends that don't have the Zoom link, feel free to let them know that they could catch us on Clayton County's page or Bibb County page. So that's at UGA Clayton County and at Bibb County Cooperative Extension. All right, so we'll give everyone a couple more minutes to join us. Thank you all so much for checking in. We're happy to have you all. Going live. Welcome again, everyone. We're super excited to have you all here. Again, we are live, so if you have some friends that are not able to join us on Zoom, tell them to go ahead and catch one of our Facebook pages at UGA Clayton County or at Bibb County Cooperative Extension. We are super excited to have each and every one of you all here for our last session of Just for the Health of It Home Edition. Tonight we are talking kids culinary class. So you see we have some special co-hosts today, and I will let each of our special co-hosts introduce themselves or have their moms introduce themselves. My co-host is all the way in the back. If you can't see her, she's back there. She's really not in the co-hosting mood right now. But let's pray that she doesn't get that spirit and interrupts the program later on in the session. So again, I am DeAndrea Barber. I am the Family and Consumer Science Agent for Clayton County Extension Office. We're a part of University of Georgia Cooperative Extension. For those of you who are not familiar with it, it looks like majority of you guys are, but just a brief introduction or brief description. UGA Cooperative Extension has been around for a very, very long time, for over 100 years. We are here to provide research-based information to you guys, the public. And so we provide information in the topics of agriculture and natural resources, which is where we kind of originally began our, I guess, our journey. We started by giving face-to-face information to farmers across the state of Georgia. We also provide information with family and consumer science, as well as 4-H, which is basically youth development. So today, joining us, we have all family and consumer science agents. I don't want to say family and consumer science agents are the best, but hint, hint, wink, wink. So we will go ahead and start with introductions, and then we are actually going to do things a little bit different today, like we did last week. We're going to start with some cooking, and then we're gonna go to the education part and finish up with some cooking. So like I said last time, Don't try to sneak away. I will find you. So if Chef Rebecca can go ahead and start her introduction, and then we'll move on to Keyshawn.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Hardiman, and I am a family and consumer science agent. I'm also the county extension coordinator in the Clayton County Extension Office. And I am also a certified chef. So I'm excited to be here today. This is my daughter, Leah. She's 8 years old. And my daughter has been in the kitchen with me since she was about 2 years old. So she has a very unique comfort level when it comes to being in the kitchen, unlike a lot of her friends. So we're just excited to be here tonight. Looking forward to cooking with you.
Okay, my name is Keyshawn Thomas, and I am the FACS agent in Bibb County, Georgia. And tonight I have with me my sous chef, Mr. Miles Thomas, who is a rising fifth grader at Sonny Carter Elementary. We got our grades in and everything was okay, so we go into the fifth grade. And Miles has also, as Leah and Rebecca has, Miles has also been in the kitchen for a long time. Even when he was a small child, he would sit in the bouncy seat and he would sit in the kitchen with me. So I remember his very first job was putting butter on toast for us to put into the oven. So he's excited, and Miles has a little education piece, and we like to get a little creative in our household. So we both have on our aprons and our chef hats.
Well, we are super excited to have you both, Miles and Leah. We're super, super excited. My co-host in the background is Mila. She is 3 years old. So I am taking this opportunity to learn from the experts, Chef Rebecca and Keyshawn, of how I can get my daughter more involved in the kitchen. I think I'm doing pretty good so far, but we will see what tips they have for me tonight. So like I said, we're going to start off this week with some cooking. So I'm going to turn it over to Chef Rebecca and Leah. We are actually going to start off with, I believe, some sweet potato fries. But Chef Rebecca, take it away.
Wonderful. Yes, we're going to start off with some sweet potato fries this evening, and we're actually going to bake them and not fry them so we can save ourselves of all that oil and grease. So the sweet potato fries, I'm going to turn the camera down so you'll be able to see what we are doing. And actually, we're going to have Leah start this evening. She has here her a sweet potato, or a piece of sweet potato. I cut off the edges so it stands up straight. And she is going to actually use her knife to slice into the sweet potato and make French fries slices. So it's a little hard, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, hold on. But I want you to notice that Leah has learned that she is supposed to do the saw and claw. That's what I call it. So she curls her fingers this way and she saws. Instead of just trying to push straight down, she actually saws it like this. And because these sweet potatoes are a little hard, I'm gonna let her now do it after I have cut it in half. So remember how I told you to hold your knife?
For those of you, the recipe is on the screen. I will keep it up for a couple more minutes so you guys can check out the recipe. Please remember to share your email addresses if you're on Zoom, or if you would like to get the recipes and participate in our survey. Please, if you're on Facebook, just type in the word more, or if you feel comfortable, go ahead and share your email addresses.
All right, so these sweet potatoes are a little hard, and so that we can move forward, Leah is gonna do the next part while I'm getting these fries together. She's gonna be adding all of our ingredients into this bag, and I'm gonna open these so that she can do that. All right, so the first thing that we need is a half a teaspoon of salt. So here's the salt, and that's a quarter. And how many quarters make a half?
So there will be 2 quarters that make a half.
That's correct. So you're going to do that 2 times and put it in there.
So
No. The salt. Do the salt first.
Okay. The salt
Yeah, that's
first.
salt. Yes.
So I'm gonna put it right here. And what I've learned is you just bring it up, and if you have, let's say I have a lot like this, you're gonna put your finger down, go like this, then you're gonna spread it off.
Good job,
And then you
Leah.
go down.
I did not tell her to say that. I'm surprised she remembered that. So that's great. Thank you, Leah.
No problem.
All right, so Why sweet potatoes and not regular potatoes? Well, there are definitely a lot more nutrients, vitamins that you can get from sweet potatoes, and it helps you to get those vitamins through something that you love. Because we all love fries. Well, I don't know about y'all. I love fries.
Yeah, we love fries.
And
Yes,
I specifically
thank
love
you.
sweet potato fries.
So you
So
gotta
this is perfect.
do the black pepper. You need a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper.
A 1/4 teaspoon. So I'm gonna use this one.
Yes. Very good. And then
That
we'll
means
be
we only
ready.
need one of these.
That's right, just one. Very good. So the way that I taught Leah, and actually her father did too, in the kitchen is we use a STEM kind of foundation. So everything equates to math and science. So that's the kind of thing we talk about while we're cooking. So it makes it easier to follow a recipe. Yes, you're gonna pour the oil in. Everything's going into this one bag. So it's easy peasy, easy cleanup.
Now, how much is this oil?
How much oil did we put
Yeah,
in?
how much oil?
We put in about a little over, two teaspoons, but I put a little extra
Good to know.
because our stuff is a little thick. All right, so mix that up for me. Let's see if I can get another one done real quick. We can get this in the oven and then get our. Now you can take the skins off. We happen to like the skin, so we don't take it off. Just like some people like the skin on their regular French fries and some people don't. So either way is okay. It's gonna be a little bit smaller. That's okay too. All right, open the bag last time. Let me put these pieces in, and then we'll be able to get these in the oven.
It smells good.
It smells good,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not even cooked yet.
What?
All right, and so while Leah is shaking that bag for us, I'm gonna move this out the way, bring this over, and get ready for our chicken
Nuggets.
or nugget.
Now put this to the side.
Take care of that. So we're gonna start by having Leah crack some eggs.
Eggs. So we have 2 eggs.
You need a bowl.
I need a bowl. I have 2 eggs here. 2 white fresh eggs.
Okay, crack them into there first and then in there. Good job. Here, the garbage is right behind you. All right, so while Leah's cracking those eggs, I'm gonna put our sweet potatoes on our pan so we can get them in the oven.
Oh, that's for sure.
Okay.
And Rebecca, is that parchment paper that you're using?
It is parchment paper, yes. Makes
And
it so
there
much
is a
easier.
difference between parchment paper and wax paper, correct?
Say that again.
There is a difference between parchment paper and wax paper, correct?
That is correct. There's a big difference. Wax paper, not all wax papers can go in the oven. So you have to be careful.
I found that out through research.
Yes.
Was it research, Keisha?
Yes, the smoke detector let me know that the wax.
Yes, wax paper is good for a lot of things, but not necessarily baking.
Yes.
And I'm sorry you had to find out the hard way.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna put our sweet potato fries. I laid them out into one level. We're gonna put them in the oven at 400 degrees. And Leah's gonna wash her hands because she just opened the eggs. And we're gonna move on to our chicken nuggets. Now, for the chicken nuggets, I know that most kids, what they really like about the chicken nuggets is that crunch, right? We all want that crunch. So what we've done is we have used panko breadcrumbs instead of regular breadcrumbs. Panko breadcrumbs, which are Japanese based, are definitely more are more coarse. Get the egg and put the egg in there with it. I mean the milk. Sorry, the milk. All right. So what we have is 2 eggs and let's get really good, but don't go crazy.
I won't.
And 2 tablespoons of milk, and we're just whisking that together. All right, good job. Looking good. All right, so what I've already done today is I took my panko breadcrumbs, spread them onto an even layer on a baking sheet, and baked them. Baked them at 400 degrees for a couple of minutes. Then I mixed them up and then baked them about 2 more minutes. So we already have a pretty good bake on these, and so they're even more coarse than when we first opened them. So we're going to transfer those to this bag. I love meals that you can do all in one bag because it makes it easier, especially when you have a helper in the kitchen. We're going to add those breadcrumbs. I think you're good, baby.
I know I'm good.
I mean, that's enough. All right, I'll take this.
Okay.
Okay, oops. Gotta get a little dredging station going, but you're gonna do the seasoning first. So all the seasonings are gonna go into this bag. So you need 1 teaspoon of salt.
1 teaspoon.
And so for all of those, the recipe is on the screen. I'll keep it up for a couple more minutes, and then I'll let Chef Leah and Chef Rebecca take over.
Thank you for doing that, DeAndrea, so they can see what we're doing. That's good.
1 teaspoon of this.
Then you need 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Yeah. 1. That's good. Now we need 1 onion powder. So we just did a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of pepper. Now we're gonna do a teaspoon of onion powder. Onion powder, sorry. Got it? Yeah. All right. Now a teaspoon of paprika.
Teaspoon of paprika.
That's too much.
That's way too much.
There you go, that's good. Okay, very good. And then we need a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. There's that garlic. We love that garlic.
We definitely love the garlic.
Love the garlic. Garlic is my friend.
Very good. And then we're gonna add 1/4 teaspoon, which I'm gonna do because I don't have the 1/4 right here, of cayenne pepper.
Now we mix.
Yes, mix that up for me. Good job.
That's what I told you guys. Be careful in the kitchen.
Yes, be careful in the kitchen. You're looking good over there, Chef Leah.
There we go.
All right. So now we are going to get our dredge going so we can get this in the oven as well. And move this way a little bit. All right. So what we have is our parchment paper lined cooking sheet.
No wax paper.
No wax paper.
No wax
I
paper.
feel attacked.
No. All right. So I'm going to put the chicken into this egg mixture. Oh, you know what? Leah, you know what we forgot to do?
What?
We did not cut this chicken.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. All right,
Well,
so.
guess what? Now people get to learn how to cut chicken.
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are gonna cut this chicken. Let me just grab a cutting board really quick.
Now, quickly, if I didn't have chicken breast on hand, could I use the chicken tenderloin, or say for instance, if they have a sale on thighs, could I use the boneless, skinless thighs?
You definitely could, and depending on what cut you use, you're gonna get more flavor, juicier cuts. What I have here are tenderloins. I've just removed the little tenderloin that goes down the middle. So that's actually what these are.
Yay, I hate that part.
Yeah, you can easily take it out with a fork. So if
I
you
watched a Facebook video. I have yet to try it yet.
oh, it works
Good to
perfectly.
know.
Just make sure your chicken, make sure it's not like hasn't been sitting out. You want it right out from the refrigerator,
Okay.
so that it's kind of firm, and then it's perfect. All right, so as soon as I get these cut up, we're gonna have, I'm gonna toss them in the egg here. Now was it last week we did a little dredging station and everybody was able to see?
Yes.
Yes.
All
We
right,
did
so
oven fried chicken.
that's
Yep.
right. So this is the same idea, but it is a little bit easier because we're not doing the 3 steps. We're just doing 2 steps, which is the egg right into the breadcrumbs. So
And the egg serves as a binder so that the breadcrumbs will stick, correct?
that is correct. When you're doing things like baking items that you would normally fry and you want to really get that crunch on it, that's the way to do it, is to dredge it somehow.
Okay.
I will tell you, now I'm looking at this, I wish I had done a quick brine on this chicken. That would have been so good.
True.
But I'm sure they'll taste just as magnificent without it.
I
Now,
truly,
brines is seasoning and water or citrus juice or,
correct. Either one, yes.
then you probably want to do it for 12 to 24 hours in order to infuse those flavors into that chicken. A lot of people.
That's correct. Now you can do some faster brines, but yeah, the longer the better. All right, so we have our chicken here in our egg mixture. I'm just gonna use a fork to mix it up, make sure you don't touch it. And then I'm gonna actually have Leah put each of the pieces in our breadcrumb bag. Opened it up a little bit so we don't get anything on the edges. Just one at a time, just put them in. It's okay if they drip.
And I love the easy cleanup with a Ziploc bag.
Yes, that's the bonus. This is one of those recipes that is very easy to have Leah in the kitchen for, because you can tag team it. Everybody can do a little bit, and it's a safe recipe.
So I know oh, go ahead, Rebecca.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, we're just going to go ahead, get egg on all of these, get them in the bag, toss them in the breadcrumbs, and then get them on our baking sheet here that's lined with parchment paper. And we will bake them in an oven, 400 degrees, 15 to 20 minutes. But we always test our meat. So we'll check the thermometer as it gets closer to the 15, 20 minutes.
Awesome. Poll question, bonus question.
Ooh.
Chicken, what internal temperature does it need to get to before we can say that it's done? Facebook fam and Zoom family, put it in the Q&A box.
I know.
Oh, you can't cheat.
Keyshawn.
But I do have a question. Keyshawn, you said one of the first things Miles was working on was buttering the toast.
Yes,
and Chef Rebecca, what was the first thing Leah, do you remember, was
Well, the first thing she did in the kitchen was eat all my fruit. But
okay.
After that, mixing was really the first thing that I let her try. Just 2 little ingredients in a bowl, just let her mix it. Because the better control kids can get in mixing certain things, the better control that you'll be able to develop with them with knives and things like that.
Awesome. That's a great tip. So my child loves to mix her own pancake mix. So we're headed in the right step. I just need her buttering the toast or maybe buttering the pancakes, and then we'll be good. We have a whole restaurant.
You're definitely on the right path. That's awesome.
We are done.
Small jobs. It's important to have those age-appropriate jobs. I wouldn't let Miles, and he's still not to saute yet, but he can do a lot more things than when he first started off with the buttering of.
All right, I'm gonna let Leah toss the chicken in the breadcrumbs. remember the panko breadcrumbs are definitely more coarse than regular breadcrumbs, but you can use regular breadcrumbs. You do not have to use the panko.
Now for panko, do I have to put them in a food processor to make them a little finer, or can I just go with them straight out of the can?
You can go with them straight out of the container. You do not need to process them. But when I tell you they give such a bigger crunch than the regular breadcrumbs, it's amazing. All right.
So could I use them for the oven fried chicken?
Oh, definitely. Yes, you definitely can. All right. So I'm just getting all these chicken pieces that are coated in the panko onto our cooking sheet. And then we're going to get them in the oven. So I don't know if you all want to go on to the next part while we get this done.
Sure. So Keyshawn and Miles, it's on you.
Okay. So Miles and I like to be a little creative in the kitchen. Some of our family members call us a little silly, but Miles and I decided to do an interview to kind of go through some of the things that we go through in the kitchen. So, are you ready for your interview?
I guess.
You have to speak up a little bit so they can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we have here in the Thomas household, we have an aspiring sous chef, Mr. Miles Thomas. And I'd like to interview Miles for our TV show. So I'm going to ask Miles a few questions. So, Miles, why is it important for us to eat vegetables?
It's important for you to eat vegetables because, well, vegetables are good for you, and some vegetables can improve some of your senses, like carrots can improve your vision.
Oh, okay. So what is your favorite vegetable?
My favorite vegetable is romaine lettuce.
Okay, because you like salad so much.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's another name for meat?
Protein.
Protein. And if I were fixing my plate, how much protein should I have?
You should have 1, 2, 3, 4. You should have 1/4 protein of your plate.
So if I needed a visual for how that protein should look, what should it look like?
It should fit in the fit in the hand of a woman's hand.
Oh, it should fit in the palm of a woman's hand?
Yes.
Got you. So why is it important for us to eat fruit, do you think?
It's important for you to eat fruit because fruit is, like I said, with vegetables, it's good for your health and it could drive away some sicknesses and diseases.
So some sicknesses and diseases, so they can reduce our risk for some sicknesses and diseases, huh? So, Miles, what is the formal name for when you gather all of your supplies, your utensils, and your ingredients?
That is called mise en place.
Really? So why is mise en place important?
Mise en place is important because, well, you don't want to waste time getting your ingredients out when you can just do mise en place and then start.
So you can just start. So you don't have to take those extra steps and go back and forth in the kitchen to get I forgot my fork. Oh, I forgot my chicken. Oh, I forgot the salt and pepper. Okay, does that also include preheating the oven?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what other skills do you use when you're in the kitchen cooking?
I use math, reading, and leadership.
So how do you use math, reading, and leadership in the kitchen?
I use math by measuring, like if we put something in a measuring cup, I have to measure that and pour it into certain things. Reading, I have to read the recipe to make the food that we're trying to make, and leadership, just boss everyone around.
You get to boss everyone around, Miles, not you. So what do you do when you boss everyone around?
I tell them to preheat the oven, like I said, mise en place. Do that first, and then start, like, get the ingredients, pour this into that, put this into that, put that in the oven, wait for it to cook, and then eat it.
Oh, okay. Now let me ask you this, Miles. What is your favorite fruit?
My favorite fruit is grapes.
Okay. And also, as far as going into the kitchen, what is the first step that one should do when they're going into the kitchen to cook?
The first step you should do when going into the kitchen to cook, either for yourself or for your family, is wash your hands.
And how long should I wash my hands for?
20 seconds.
Okay, this has been very informative, Miles. So I'm going to switch to a very quick PowerPoint that I have that further describes some of these things that will help some parents out as well. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, if you'll bear with me. Okay, so cooking with kids in the kitchen. Thank you so much for your interview, Miles. I appreciate it. So sometimes people feel like cooking with children in the kitchen is messy or it's time consuming, but hopefully after this presentation, we'll be able to give you a few tips to minimize that. Now, don't get me wrong. I do realize it's going to take a little longer if I have Miles in the kitchen or one of my other children in the kitchen with me. But I feel like that cooking along with the parent in the kitchen can help to empower a child. It helps them to make decisions. And as Miles said in our wonderful interview, it enforces leadership, those math, reading, and sometimes even science, depending on. A lot of times we do a lot of baking in our home, and it's amazing to see all of those ingredients come out to a wonderful tasting cake. So there's Miles and his sister. I think he baked a Christmas cookie, but there is nothing that can take the place of a teachable moment. And also we feel like cooking is fun. So it can take the place, it can have a teachable moment in the kitchen. This tastes like this, mandarin oranges taste like this. So you can get to expose the child also to a lot of different things, and also sometimes even different cultures, like when we do our fried rice or if we have Mexican food or something like that. It gives the child empowerment for them to make decisions and follow instructions, and also leadership. And it can also help to kind of undergird those health goals. It's one thing for us to say, eat your vegetables, eat your fruit, but it's another thing if the child is in the kitchen and they're actively engaged in the process and helping to prepare that meal, and they know that it's a healthy meal. And also, it's a lot of fun to be in the kitchen. I cannot tell you, with my older two children, all of the things that I have learned while we were hanging out in the kitchen cooking. Cooking successfully with kids, it's very important to impart those safety rules. What can I touch? What can I not touch? If this is hot, if this is cold, using oven mitts, turning on the oven, turning off the oven, and making sure that we wash our hands for 20 seconds, as Miles said, before we begin any type of meal. The recipe, it's all about the recipe. Choosing parents, I would encourage you to choose a recipe that's age appropriate. So it's probably not the best idea for Miles to help me to make chicken cacciatore with 20 ingredients, and you have to be in there all day, and all of the ingredients are super expensive. That's probably a recipe for a disaster, but a recipe that is age appropriate. Also, if it's a more intricate recipe, like for instance, in our household, that charcuterie board that is right there on the PowerPoint, Miles actually did a lot of that, but some of the prep work I did in advance. I knew that we needed to, for instance, slice apples. Miles is not on to slicing yet, so I sliced apples. I washed fruit. We also sliced strawberries to make sure that he had those things already. And of course, my friend here is very serious about mise en place. So sometimes we will if we're cooking, like today, we're going to make the fruit pizza along when Rebecca makes it. So we have our little fruit in little bowls. It's a lot easier to just have those things already washed, already chopped, and that way the child is just adding on or just helping, literally assembling the dish. So let's make sure that it's age appropriate. Prep work, making sure that you do the prep work. And it's also important, the time of day, depending on how young your child is, like DeAndrea's daughter there, it's probably not a good idea to let's start cooking and she hasn't had her daily nap. That probably will not end well. You'll be frustrated, the child will be frustrated, and you may or may not get dinner on the table. You might have to call Uber Eats. So the time of day is very important. Also, I have 2 older children, so sometimes in the evening, that little what I call the witching hour between 5:30 and 6:30, when I'm really trying to get things on the table, I will make the older children do some things. They may chop up the garlic before I get home, or chop the cilantro, or at the very least, preheat the oven, rinse, or take the marinated chicken and put it onto a baking dish. So you can do age-appropriate tasks, but trust me, I sometimes have to say, Saturday, we will make this dish, so that I know that I have time to do it and I have time to be patient with my sous chef, as well as him being patient with me to get rid of the frustration. So our takeaways, before we get to our takeaways, I did want to talk a little bit about picky eaters. One thing we do know that children, they do as we do, not necessarily as we say. And I also wanted to give parents a little tip. We are having hamburgers and sweet potato fries for dinner. So one tip is to have, and Miles, if you'll just hold that close to our camera so our audience can see, is sometimes to hold it up for them. It's sometimes to have the food in different shapes. So here, turn it around for us. We did a waffle sweet potato fry. And do the next one for me, bud.
A regular French fry.
A regular French fry. And what's the last one?
A circle.
A circle French fry.
It may not be perfect, but it's good enough for us.
He said it may not be perfect, but it's good enough for us. And it is. So sometimes introducing that food in different shapes will also help children, and children that may be kind of a finicky eater. Also, continue to introduce that food. Science tells us that we have to introduce that food sometimes as many as 7 to 10 times before the child will kind of say, okay, I kind of like it. Now, some things we just do not like. Miles is not a fan of cheese, for instance. So I've given him cheese, melted cheese, cheese dip, cheese and grits, cheese on a sandwich. He's not a fan of cheese. He's not a fan of macaroni and cheese.
I do like pizza and nacho cheese, though.
He does like pizza and nacho cheese. So reintroducing that same cheese in different dishes helps him to kind of nail down what he likes cheese in. He also likes a little cheese in salad. So we can get a little of that dairy in that way if we like, but don't give up. Don't be discouraged if they don't like it the first time and they're not raving like, oh my goodness. My older daughter, I used to love guacamole. I still love guacamole. And they would take one look at it on the guacamole. But she tasted it one time and was like, oh, this is not so bad. And that was because I kept reintroducing it. And there is a rule in our house. You cannot say that you don't like it if you've never tasted it. You have to taste it. And now, of course, it's age appropriate. Leah and Miles are a little older, so I would make them taste some things before they say they didn't like it. Of course, how old is our other sous chef, DeAndrea? She's about 3, correct?
Yeah, she just turned 3.
So she just turned 3. So I probably would not make her taste it. But a lot of times my children wind up trying things because I was eating it. So if we want to have those healthier meals, we need to make sure we're eating healthier meals. We cannot say eat your fruits and vegetables, and we have taken out a family-sized bag of Cheetos, and they're going to say, hey, what did you do? Also, try to think about pairing that new food with favorites. One of Miles's favorite dishes is pizza. So when we switch to turkey pepperoni, and when we switch to turkey Italian sausage, at first they said, I don't want Italian sausage, so I would do a half and half. But then the half started to seem like they came together, and the half that had the Italian sausage on it, next thing you know, the children started to eat them. So they started to eat the entire thing. So, and see, now he says he likes Italian sausage. So sometimes we just have to be creative into how many times we introduce the dish, how we introduce the dish, and also science also indicates that children will be more apt to eat food if they have a hand in preparing it, if they take ownership of the dish. And also we do know that people that can cook, they do cook, and they have healthier eating habits because they don't have to depend on processed food or fast food in order to live. They can make themselves something. So hopefully you have enjoyed this presentation, and the takeaways are: make sure you keep it safe in the kitchen. Wash your hands for
20 seconds.
All right, every time. That's the last step in the kitchen? Is that the last step in the kitchen? Wash your hands?
Yes.
Or the first step?
It's the first and last.
It's the first and last step. You heard it right here, you all. Preparation. Sometimes we have to do a little prep work before we get started on the dish in order to make it a good experience for all of our chefs and sous chefs involved. And also those learning moments, enforcing that math, science, and reading and leadership. And also it's in the recipe. Let's not use our vanilla that we got harvested from Madagascar. That might not be the time to use that in a dish when we have our little sous chef with us. And lastly, be creative and have fun. You can create great memories in the kitchen. And what I generally, when Miles and I are in the kitchen, we will send a picture to grandma. She doesn't live in our town where we live, and we'll text a picture to grandma, or we'll text a picture to some of our aunts and uncles, or put it on Facebook. So we are creating wonderful memories in the kitchen. And I can tell you it does work, because now I have a 17-year-old, and she can etch out a meal on her own. It may not be perfect, but she can etch out a meal. So at least we know when she goes away, she won't starve. She is 17 now. She had a birthday. Yeah, she is. So this has been Keyshawn and Miles. This has been our little segment of the show. So we're going to turn it back over to Chef Rebecca. Uh-oh. Once I found my
Awesome.
stuff.
So we are super excited. You were speaking right to me when you were talking about picky eating, because yes, she just said hi. She is the ultimate picky eater in life. But let's turn it over to Chef Rebecca for the last two of our recipes, and just to get a check in.
All right, awesome. We're back, Chef Rebecca and sous chef Leah. So now we're gonna get on our kids' mac and cheese. And actually Leah's gonna take the lead on this. So I'm gonna have her stand right here, and she's gonna grab the whisk. This mac and cheese is a great option if you want the taste of mac and cheese, but it does have less sodium, less fat, and it's not baked, but you can bake it if you want it to. But this is an option for a quick weeknight side, if you will. So we're gonna start with 2 cups of milk. You can use any kind of milk that you use in your home. And to that, I'm going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to add some onion powder. I'm gonna put this down so you can see what she's doing over here. All right. So 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. I'm sorry, 3/4 teaspoon. The 1/8 of a teaspoon was from when I made the pasta. And then I'm also putting in 3/4 teaspoon of onion powder. That's gonna give good flavor there. Salt. And I'm also adding some flour. And what that flour is going to do is help us to thicken our sauce that we're making, almost like a roux, but not quite there. And then we're gonna add our cheese at the last minute. So right now we're gonna have Leah just whisk this up while it's warming up. And while she does that, I wanna show you all something that I did. As you can see, our meal is a little heavy on other food groups, but not necessarily our green veggies. And so what I did was earlier today, I just took a huge head of kale. I washed it really well, separated the leaves from that, the rib in the middle, got rid of the rib, chopped up the leaves that were left, and then tossed them in just a very little amount of olive oil, salt, and pepper, and put them in the oven. And I baked them at 275 degrees. And actually we made little kale chips. So they are very crunchy. They're very yummy. And it's a good way to get your pack of vegetables without doing a whole big side. It was really easy. Just pop them in the oven and they are delicious. And they're crunchy.
Yummo. So you did salt and pepper and garlic, right?
Of course. All right. So those are our kale chips.
It's not gonna even go.
So Leah is whisking our milk and our flour and our seasonings. So we're gonna get this going here. Essentially, what I want to do is get it so it thickens up a little bit. Then I'm gonna add a cup of cheese. Now for the cheese, I'm using a reduced fat, what they call a Fiesta blend. So it's a blend of cheddar, Monterey Jack, and I think Colby or maybe mozzarella, one of those. But it's a blend of different cheeses. You can use 1 cup of whatever mix you want to use. So if you wanted to use all sharp cheddar, that works. A lot of people like just sharp cheddar for their mac and cheese. And then what I did earlier was I cooked 3 cups of elbow macaroni. Bring this up a little bit. So this is 3 cups dry, cooked after that. And then that 1/8 of a teaspoon salt is what I put in the water. Very important when you come to your pastas that you salt your water before you put your pasta in the water. That is the only time you're going to be able to infuse flavor into your pasta because it'll cook right in. You can add salt afterwards, but what you're doing then is just laying salt on top of your food. It's not really getting into your food. So keep that in mind. Oh, it's thickening up. So we're getting it going here.
So Chef Rebecca.
Yes.
So, my family's trying this whole gluten-free, fiasco, not fiasco, journey, right? Can I use gluten-free flour to make this roux, or would it?
You definitely could. No,
Okay.
you definitely could. Yep. I don't recommend using some of the other flours like almond flour and things like that because it'll change the whole flavor profile. But
Gotcha.
using a gluten-free all-purpose flour is perfect.
Okay. And then we also have a request for your kale chip recipe. So,
Oh, well, guess what? When we send out these recipes, I will go ahead and add that to it.
Okay.
So simple.
Right. Does anybody else have like a file of recipes to try? Because I keep like on my phone, there's always a recipe to try. In fact, I have way more than I have tried, but I always hand just in case, you get bored or you want to do something different. Because sometimes I get tired of eating the same thing. So I think something like a kale chip would definitely be something that I would experiment with and try.
Have to try it at least once. I'm telling you, it's good stuff. And they're crunchy, just like a potato chip. You don't even realize you're just chowing down on a whole bunch of veggies.
It's actually really good.
I felt the same way when I tried the buffalo cauliflower. Man, those things are so good.
We're going to have to try all of these to get my child to eat more vegetables. She used to love vegetables. Now she's like protesting them all. So
she's just going through a phase. It happens.
Can it stop now, please?
Well, we can't necessarily say when it's going to stop. All right, that's our timer while we're getting this roux going. I'm going to take a look in here. Ooh, y'all better stop in here. These chicken nuggets looking good.
I'm excited like I'm pulling something out of the oven.
Right. Can we come over? Social distancing, come over?
Yes, I will serve you at my door.
Okay. You could just drop them off the balcony.
Right. All right, so our milk mixture here is starting to thicken up, and let me show you what that looks like. So if you can see, it's starting to thicken up a little bit. It's not as loose as it was when we first got it on the stove. So I'm just gonna let it go a little bit longer, and then what I'm gonna do is actually pull it off of the stove and whisk in the cheese. And then from there, I'll be able to just add the pasta and our mac and cheese will be complete. And our sweet potato fries just came out of the oven. So they're looking mighty good. They're looking so good that Leah had to sing. She said, mighty good. All right, you whisk that for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. All right, it's getting thicker, isn't it?
It's getting thick.
Yes. All right.
And sweet potatoes are a great replacement for the white starchy potatoes. And they're kind of like what they call guiltless. And They have so many different things that you can do with sweet potatoes. In fact, I saw a stuffed sweet potato recipe the other day that I am very interested
That sounds really good.
It does.
We're gonna take it off the heat. You're gonna
They're
come
full
over
of lots of nutrients and like beta carotene, vitamin C, like tons of them. So, and potassium. So definitely want to add that to your, not your daily dose of meals, but add that,
Right.
mix it up a little bit.
I like that. All right, so we've got a quick little boil on here going. It's just a little boil, so I'm gonna let this boil a little bit. I'm gonna turn down the heat so it can simmer for a couple of minutes. And in the meantime, while that's happening, I'm actually gonna check the temperature of our chicken nuggets. Just 1 second, okay?
Okay, so those chicken nuggets, if we prep the chicken the night before, and as Rebecca mentioned, if we put them in a brine, that's something that they could sit in literally all day and it's just dredging. If you have older children like myself, they could do the dredging station and get them into the oven with supervision probably. You want to make
Oh,
sure
definitely.
everything's loaded. But that could be something that could be done very quickly and you still have that chicken nugget, something that the children are familiar with and something that tastes great and it's not from a fast food establishment.
Yes, that's the thing. We're trying to make this taste like it would taste if they were driving through one of those fast food restaurants. That's the whole key. And that's why it's so important that we have flavor.
And also, it will have reduced sodium, not like the frozen ones. Nothing against frozen foods, but a lot of times our processed foods, they have a lot more sodium in order for them to remain, I guess, on the shelves or in the frozen state.
That's true. All right, I'm going to show you all what this looks like before we add our cheese. As you can see, it definitely got even more thick as we simmer it down. Alrighty. All right, and I'm gonna take it off the heat in 1 second. I just want to make sure it simmered well.
So Chef Rebecca, another craze is the cauliflower mac and cheese craze.
Yes.
Have you tried that? Would you suggest that? Or
I have not tried making it. I've tried it out, and I'm not a fan only because of the texture for me. It's that same thing with the cauliflower mash. Like you just gotta, it's a texture thing, and if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work, you know?
Gotcha.
All right, so we're gonna have Miss Leah add the cheese here carefully. Put that in the sink. Whisk in this cheese. And because it's hot, I'm gonna do this part.
It melted quickly.
It sure did melt quickly. That cheesy goodness. Here, put this over in the sink for me, and I'm gonna get this macaroni started in here.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna add our macaroni. Like I said, I did this macaroni earlier, and it's just 3 cups dry. We'll start with that. You saw that pop like that? Mix this in. Ooh, look at that.
That
cheese.
looks so yummy.
See that?
Yum yum.
All right, let's add the rest here. Now, normally I would have Leah do this mixing, but because the pan is so hot, I'm actually doing this part. And plus, we're about to move on to our dessert pizza.
Eat the mac and cheese.
No, you can't eat the mac and cheese yet.
That's what me and Miles are ready for.
Yes, we're gonna do this dessert pizza. Do y'all see how cheesy that is?
Mac and cheese is one of my comfort foods, so may
It's
have to make
definitely
this.
one of mine. And Miles is protected because he does not like cheese and he said he hates it. So.
Aw, Miles.
Nothing against
Sorry,
cooking.
Miles.
Life
I'm
without cheese, I don't even know what will happen.
And he said nothing against your cooking, Chef Rebecca, but he's not going to eat.
I understand. All right, now this is not going to be your grandmama's mac and cheese. It's not my cousin Joy's mac and cheese, but let me tell you something. For a weeknight meal and you just got to have that mac and cheese, this will do just fine. You can add any other kinds of seasonings you want to make it anything you want. So I'm going to move this to the side.
Bring a bowl for Mama.
Okay, well, we're not eating dinner yet, baby.
I know.
Okay, so let's get this dessert pizza going. Keyshawn and Miles, y'all want to get your stuff ready?
We did. We have our items here, and we have mixed up our sauce, and we have our fruit.
Awesome. All right. So
Wait a minute.
there are many different ways in which you can do a dessert pizza. A lot of people use a sugar cookie as their base. Some people use a chocolate chip cookie. You can use whatever base you want to use. It doesn't matter. But the recipe that we have is actually, it makes like a granola base. So it's made with oatmeal and a little bit of flour. I actually used almond flour for this one, and a little bit of butter, some honey, vanilla, cinnamon, and this is what you get. You get the nice oatmeal base. Now, my base did crack, so it's not as big as it was when it came out of the oven after I baked it. But that's okay too, because now we have pieces that we can eat like granola bars. So nice breakfast snack tomorrow morning, so that'll be good. So for
Improvise.
yes.
With this.
So for our, what we're calling our pizza sauce, Leah is going to mix our yogurt for us. And to that, she's going to add, what happened to you? Oh, here it is.
Who knows?
We're going to add some honey, and we're going to add some vanilla extract. Move up a little bit so they can see what you're doing. There we go. And Miss Keyshawn, if you can tell me what you and Miles have as your base and what you're doing, that would be great.
Okay, Miles and I have used a sugar cookie, just a slice and bake sugar cookie for our base, and had a little accident. So I had to cut off the little burny edge because Mom got busy and didn't hear the timer.
Yeah.
So there's our sugar cookie base. But we also use light whipped topping, and we use light fat-free cream cheese in ours. And Miles is stirring those together for us for our sauce. And we have mandarin oranges, kiwi, blueberries, and strawberries for our fruit topping. So Miles is it, and if again, as we said previous sessions, if you use the low fat or the fat-free whipped topping or the low fat or fat-free cream cheese, you cannot tell the difference when you put this wonderful fruit on top of it.
So true. So true. Awesome.
I'm coming to Macon.
I know, right?
Make a detour in McDonough.
Yep.
And also, if you're doing the slice and bake sugar cookie, for instance, you can do individual and have, if you have multiple children, have them to decorate their own individual cookie. We just decided to do the big one because I like the presentation of the larger one.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so we're gonna have Leah put some of the yogurt onto the cookie there.
Okay, now spread some out.
On here.
Mm-hmm.
Just spread it all around. Got it? Mm-hmm. Be careful. That's good.
Miles and Leah, you guys are doing awesome jobs.
It's nice to have sous chefs, let me tell you.
Just gotta wait a couple more years.
You're almost there.
Oh Lord, pray for me.
Actually, the last night I wasn't feeling well at all, and I told Leah, I said, Leah, I have to go lay down. So when I woke up, my child had cooked dinner for me. It was beautiful. It was hot dogs and beans, and I was so proud of her.
Good job, Leah.
She had supervision, but she did it all, and I didn't have to worry about it. So it was a blessing.
I'm just messing with you. You're coming along just fine. Now, if I were you, I would get rid of that thick part in the middle, kind of spread that a little. Yeah.
your strawberries.
Okay.
So we have blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, and whatever's left of the mandarin oranges after they've been attacked by Leah.
Need more. And you want to spread it evenly as possible, all over.
Be cut.
That's right. Don't kill my strawberries.
All right, we got a little more. I want you to fix that in for me. Yeah, we're gonna use all of it. All of it.
Yes, all of it. You gotta have all
Right.
the icing, the topping.
All the goodness.
Yes.
And this is right up our alley. We love to make pizzas. I'm trying to perfect my chicken pizza. I think we've got a turkey pizza perfected. I want to figure out perfect a white sauce. But this is right up our alley. You can have pizza and fruit pizza.
Yes. This will probably be a recipe for the weekend. We
Yeah.
just couldn't do it today. Just wasn't in our agenda.
And sometimes it's not in the cards. And sometimes I baked a cake. A young man and myself, we baked the cake. And once we put it in the oven, the young man went to sleep. So he had no idea when it came out of the oven. I guess he was tired. But that's okay. Sometimes we have to go as far as they, we have to kind of meet them where they are and go as far as the child can go. Okay, you can start adding on, bud.
So I have finally chopped these strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
They're beautiful, Chef Leah. You did a great job chopping.
And now I'm just gonna basically just put them on.
Very good, Miles. Very good. So again, this is another presentation of fruit. So rather than just having the chopped strawberries like we generally do around our house, or having a bowl of mandarin oranges, we can take these same strawberries and use them in a fruit pizza. We can use them in a smoothie. We can use them in a parfait. So again, it is giving that different presentation of the same food. Now, if you just have a child that just does not like strawberries, then obviously the 7 to 10 times introducing it will not work. But if they kind of like them, but they just only like them in smoothies, that's okay too, as long as they're getting that fruit in.
Yes. And we have a question. Can you add grapes, pineapple, kiwi, and other fruits you have handy? Yes, you can add whatever fruits you have handy, whatever fruits you think will taste good together. It is all up to you. This is your creation.
I have had clients to add sliced almonds on top because that's what their family like.
Sounds good.
Add, when peaches come in season, for instance, if that's what you like, just be creative. And a lot of times people will use it if they use this recipe, if they just have a hodgepodge of fruit. It's just a different way of presenting that fruit.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm trying to pull it together while you all are finishing up your pizza so I can show you what this dinner will look like.
Okay. Miles, how's it going over there? I see your skills. What you working with? Wait,
I'm working with kiwis,
okay,
strawberries,
kiwi. Yes.
blueberries, and some peaches.
Nice.
Those are mandarin oranges.
Mandarin oranges. I take care of.
All right, so that's Leah's finished pizza with the
Awesome, Leah.
Over there.
did a great job, and I'm gonna show you our dinner. This is our dinner.
Yes, that looks amazing.
We've got this mac and cheese. We've got the chicken nugget, the sweet potato fries. I made a little honey mustard just a little bit of mustard and some honey.
Mm-hmm.
There you have it.
It is
Looks delicious.
Yeah, they are good.
I like these ones, but other ones, no.
That looks so good. Chef Rebecca and Leah.
I would eat these ones every day.
Here.
Eat the other one.
Yes.
Only these.
Okay.
I want to eat one right now.
Okay. Are we gonna make it to the pizza? Or no?
No.
So you like mandarin oranges?
Yeah.
And sometimes even just changing the temperature, like for instance, the pears in their own juice. I like those little cups. I'm not a fan of them at room temperature, but once I put them in the refrigerator, wow, it seems like it tastes different to me.
Yeah. My daughter is the complete opposite. She does not like anything super cold. So like I have to take it out of the refrigerator and like let it get room temperature. Yeah. But she loves those mandarin oranges. Rebecca is a witness to that.
Definitely loves them.
No, let's put a few more. We have another can. Because we have a lot of open space.
Oh, we have another can of these?
We have another can of oranges that
Okay.
she can have right after we're done. So,
You can't eat up all the good stuff, Miles.
all the product is being eaten by the chef here.
Well, I'm the chef. I do what I want.
That's true. That's true. You are the chef.
Right.
Come on, we can put a little more on there.
One right there.
Right.
And Chef Rebecca, we have a question regarding the mac and cheese. Yes, we cooked the cheese. Not the cheese. Yes, we cooked the mac and cheese on the stovetop. Chef Rebecca made a roux with some milk and some flour. Then we added the cheese. She let it get thick. Added the cheese, and then we added the elbow macaroni.
Okay, let's see.
That's correct.
And it looks like a cheesy mountain of goodness. I'm so jealous of
Once
Leah
again,
right now.
we use different kinds of cheese to get different flavors. I used a 3-blend fiesta mix is what they call it. So it's got the Monterey Jack and the cheddar, but some people definitely think that mac and cheese has to have the sharp cheddar or even the mild cheddar. You can just use cheddar and that works too.
Yeah. And one of our participants, Robin, suggested actually taking the kale chips and mixing it in the mac and cheese if you like a crunchy like mac and cheese. That sounds really good, right?
Mind blown.
Mind blown.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
that's a
might
great
do that tonight.
suggestion. Yeah.
Great suggestion.
And it's
And
a
you
great
can
way to
add-
sneak in those vegetables, even if you know your kid doesn't like, because I doubt my
Right.
child will actually eat the kale brownies, the kale chips. So
You
I
never
could just
know though. I'm
Just
telling you,
love
the
it.
crunch
See that.
and also let me just show you
Um,
the crunch that you're gonna get on these chicken nuggets. You're not gonna believe it. It is amazing. They are
Oh,
so
that's so
crunchy.
yeah. I trust that. I trust
Okay,
you.
put some over
So
here.
we don't have a believer in this. Miss Mia, our favorite person, isn't a full believer in the stovetop mac and cheese. Can we persuade her if she's not a full believer? Can we persuade her to believe?
Ooh,
Mia, you gotta believe.
yeah. Yeah, she should try this recipe, or I'm gonna have to make good on my promise and have her over to the office for us.
I know, right?
Eventually, we're gonna have to make good on that promise.
I am tasting.
She said it doesn't sit well with my spirit. I feel you. I need the oven goodness. But I'm gonna try this recipe out maybe this weekend because my child really doesn't like mac and cheese like that. And
Right.
if he eats it, Mia, I will reach out to you and let you know it's really good. Because if a 3-year-old approves, it's good.
And you know, the reality is, if it's a Sunday dinner you're preparing, just make the good old baked macaroni and cheese, please. But if you're really trying to get something on the table on a weeknight and your child is begging for mac and cheese, this is the way to go.
Right.
Right, a Tuesday night after soccer practice and you want mac and cheese, that's what you're getting, buddy.
Exactly. I'm going to this.
Yes.
It's 10 times better than Kraft. Let me just tell you that.
Right. So we are done, and Miles is going to show you. You have to kind of tilt it up so they can see it.
Blueberry milk.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh, that looks amazing, Miles. You did great.
Good job,
There
Miles.
we are.
You cannot eat that whole thing. You have to save me a piece, okay?
No.
No, okay. That's fair. That's fair.
And as you can see, our little blooper where we got a little crispy on the end, we just cut it right on off and kept on moving.
Yeah, sure.
So sometimes we have, bloopers in the kitchen, but we keep on moving and we show that we can adjust as adults as well.
Awesome. So I think we have actually hit all of our recipes for today. We had our baked chicken nuggets. We had our mac and cheese. We had our sweet potato fries and our dessert pizza. Wow, how amazing. I'm quite hungry. I did not eat before this. Next time I'm going to have to do what Keyshawn did. I think she ate before this also. But we just want to say thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this evening. Thank you to our sous chefs, Chef Leah and Chef Miles. You guys were awesome. We're super excited for you. Super proud of you guys. Keep up the great work because you guys are going to be cooking me meals. Get me soon. Or at least be good trainers for my 3-year-old back here. So a couple of things. We have a grand prize drawing. So if you are interested in not interested, but if you would like your name to be put into the grand prize drawing, please put your email address in the chat box or the Q&A box or in the comment section. If you don't feel comfortable putting your email address in the comment section on Facebook, you could just put the word more and I will reach out to you to get your actual email address so we can enter you into the drawing. I'm not going to tell you guys not the present, but the prize. It's a surprise. So if you guys could just do that. Also, please be sure to, again, put your information in the comment box or the chat box so we could send you the recipes as well as the evaluation link so we could get some feedback from you all because we definitely want to improve. This is not the last time you guys will be seeing us. We will be coming back to you soon. Maybe not as often, but soon. But we definitely want to thank you all for, sticking with us this journey. Feel free to share this video with your friends and family because we want to, share all the information that we can because that's what we do here at UGA Cooperative Extension. We are public servants and we like to provide you all with resources that can help you live well, be well, and work well. So any last thoughts, Keyshawn or Rebecca?
Well, actually, just as DeAndrea said, look out for us. We will be doing probably, as she said, not as frequently as we did this, but we will be doing future trainings. We are passionate about providing flavorful, healthy food for Georgia families. And that's what it's all about, making sure that we have healthy, flavorful food. I'm a foodie, so we don't want to give you guys anything that tastes kind of funny, the cardboard, this is healthy, it's awful. So we test these recipes and we make sure that they taste well. So we have some things lined up that I think that you'll appreciate. We have an abundance of produce coming up in the summer. And for instance, I love fried corn, but I can't eat fried corn and have my beach body ready, now can I? So we want some different ways to use some of this produce that will be in season. And I think you guys will be pleased with what we're coming up with if you stick with us and make sure you follow the Clayton County Facebook page as well as the Bibb County Facebook page. And we'll be making announcements shortly about what we'll be doing later on.
And I'll just say I'm so happy that you all joined us. For those of you who came all 4 weeks, thank you so much. For those of you out there in Facebook land, we appreciate your support. Also, don't forget about your local extension office. Cooperative Extension is in every county in Georgia and in other states, because I know we're reaching other states now. If you have a question that you're thinking about food, you want to know, can I freeze this or how do I freeze it? Reach out to your Cooperative Extension office because it's important that they know that you know the right way to do things. So that's what we're here for, and that's what we were trained to do. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And we hope you guys have an amazing Wednesday. You all will be hearing from us soon with a follow-up email with all the great recipes and evaluation links. And you'll also hear from us who won the grand prize. Woo! So be sure to put your email address in the comments box or the Q&A box. So thank you guys. And happy Wednesday and have a great rest of your week. We will chat with you all soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you guys. Thank you for supporting us. Bye.
Thank you.